Red Bull thought they had it under control. Fastest lap. New engine. No failures. Just silence and speed. Day 1 looked perfect. They topped the timesheets. They completed over 100 laps. And they walked away thinking, this might be their year. But then came day 2. And with it, the first crack. A harmless off from Verstappen. Then rain. And then, Hadjar. Turn 14. Backwards into the wall. The car didn't just stop. It broke. And when they opened it up, they found something worse than expected. Not just broken parts, but a deeper issue. One they didn't plan for. One they might not be able to fix in time. Because this wasn't just a crash. It was a warning. About their design. About their risk. And about the gamble that could define their entire season. And the most shocking part? They might have seen it coming, and pushed forward anyway. Red Bull came into the 2026 test like a team with nothing to prove. No major updates. No public tension. Just a brand new engine. And a quiet confidence that this year, they'd built something different. They let Hadjar run the opening day. Not Verstappen. Not the 4-time champion. A rookie. And still, he went quickest of anyone. Over 100 laps. No reliability issues. No red flags. Just clean running. And a 1 minute and 18.1 second that put everyone else on alert. The new Red Bull Ford power unit wasn't just working. It was thriving. This was the first full engine ever built in-house by Red Bull Powertrains. No Renault. No Honda. All theirs. That alone was historic. Because in Formula 1, when a team makes its own engine from scratch, the risk is enormous. Yet somehow, it all worked, on day 1. Hadjar sounded surprised in every interview. He said it felt smooth. He said they ran more laps than planned. He said the engine was calm. And that word stuck. Because beneath the lap times, something else was happening. Something subtle. Red Bull wasn't chasing headlines. They were gathering trust in a machine they didn't fully know yet. And that trust, at least for 24 hours, looked like it had been earned. But Formula 1 never stays still. And behind that perfect debut, was a level of fragility no one outside the garage could see. Day 2 started with cold air and quiet optimism. Max Verstappen stepped into the car for the first time. After watching Hadjar run flawlessly on day 1, everyone expected more of the same. But just 10 minutes into the session, he was off. Turn 5. Wide. Into the gravel. He rejoined. No damage. No panic. But something didn't feel right. The car wasn't responding like it had for Hadjar. The temperatures were low. The tires wouldn't switch on. And Verstappen wasn't pushing. Then came the rain. Light drizzle at first. But enough to make slicks useless. Enough to stop the data collection cold. He managed 27 laps. Mostly installation runs. No real pace. Just 1 lap under 120. And then, Red Bull made the switch. Hadjar was sent back out in the afternoon. Conditions still wet. Grip still limited. But they needed the mileage. He looked controlled. Until he wasn't. On lap 51, it happened. Exit of turn 14. Rear end stepped out. The RB22 snapped sideways. And went backwards into the Tech Pro. The crash didn't look violent. But the damage was immediate. Rear wing gone. Suspension destroyed. Possibly deeper structural damage underneath. And just like that, Red Bull's momentum vanished. The car was back in the garage before sunset. Covered. Lifted. Silently wheeled inside. From the outside, it looked like any test day crash. Frustrating, but recoverable. Teams prepare for this. They always bring spares. Right? But this wasn't a normal crash. And this wasn't a normal test. Red Bull only had 1 full chassis at Barcelona. 1 set of suspension arms for that configuration. 1 rear wing. 1 gearbox case that matched the exact layout of the RB22. Because in January, no team has full stock. Especially not a team running a brand new engine. With aero parts designed down to the millimeter. Everything had been built just in time. Tested once. Shipped in crates. Straight from Milton Keynes. And now, they needed a part that didn't exist in Spain. That's when reality set in. Repairing the damage wasn't about speed. It was about logistics. Getting the right components onto the right truck. With hours ticking away, every decision became a risk. Do they ship from the UK overnight? Do they delay Thursday's run? Do they burn their final test day, just to verify repairs? And the worst part? They didn't even know, yet, if the tub had survived the impact. If it hadn't, they'd be done. Not just for the day, but possibly for the rest of the test. The more they looked at the wreckage, the more questions began to form. Because yes, the suspension failed. Yes, the rear wing tore off. But something else wasn't right. The rear of the car looked thinner, tighter, almost fragile, as if every piece had been stretched to its absolute limit. And that wasn't an accident. It was by design. The RB22 was built to push boundaries, visibly. Its side pods are the narrowest on the grid. Tapered, compressed, sculpted like an aero. That makes it fast, especially on straights. Less drag, more airflow. The numbers are undeniable. But here's the catch. Less bodywork means less cooling. And 2026 engines run hotter than anything F1 has ever used. The MGUK, the battery pack, the turbo layout, all of it needs airflow. All of it needs space. And Red Bull gave it almost none. Now, they're facing a new kind of failure. Not mechanical. Thermal. If that crash exposed a deeper heating issue, one they were already trying to contain, then they don't just have a broken car. They have a broken concept. While engineers were counting carbon shards, Max Verstappen was standing still. He had just 27 laps. That's it. No long runs. No real race simulations. Not even a single dry stint on warm tires. He barely got started before the weather turned, and the car was handed back to Hadjar. That matters more than most people think, because Verstappen isn't just another driver. He's the reference, the filter that turns data into answers. And right now, he has no feel for the RB22, no feedback on balance, no telemetry matched to his inputs, and no idea how the car behaves over a race distance. Yes, Hadjar did over 100 laps. Yes, the engine held together. But Hadjar's role was different. He was there to gather, not to question. And Max? He questions everything. Ride height, throttle pickup, battery delivery mid-corner, gear ratios under load. Without that input, Red Bull is tuning the car in the dark, and they know it. Because every setup decision they make now, without Verstappen's feedback, carries a risk, a small miscalculation, a wrong assumption. And the first race in Bahrain could unravel before it even begins. Red Bull says they're waiting on parts, that the repairs are under control, that they'll be back on track by Thursday. But there's hesitation in their words. Not panic. Something quieter. Like a team buying time. Because they're not sure what they're fixing. The crash wasn't catastrophic. But the silence after it says more than the impact itself. Because when a top team shuts down completely, on a crucial test day, you have to ask why. Not just what broke, but what it revealed. Was it just a rear wing? A suspension failure? Or did the crash expose something deeper? A flaw in airflow? A pressure point in thermal load? A structural compromise too extreme to ignore? And if that's true, if the RB22 has a design risk baked into its concept, they can't fix it in a week. They can't fix it with parts. They can't fix it with Verstappen. They'll need to rethink something bigger. And that takes time Red Bull doesn't have. Meanwhile, Mercedes has cleared 330 laps. McLaren has run clean. Ferrari is holding its cards, but fully operational. And Red Bull? They've gone from fastest to invisible. And the most dangerous part? We don't know yet. If this was just a setback, or the start of something much worse. Because the season hasn't started. But the cracks are already showing.